Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I'm back up in Newcastle for WB & Sons auction. I haven't been up here for about 6-8 months or something, so been looking forward to coming up actually. They always have a really interesting mix, quite an eclectic mix I guess, of classics going back to the 1930s here, some really interesting 1950s Bentleys today for example as well, all the way up to modern classics, modern performance cars. So, as I say, really interesting mix if you're into a wide range of cars like me. In particular, some of the 80s Vauxhalls here look very good. They've got an XJ Super V8, which I always like. You can see MGBs. So I'll have a good look around, probably include quite a few different cars from different eras. It's actually much better spaced out than when I came last time, when it was a little bit crammed in. There's quite a lot more room, which is good today. Some cars outside, not sure how many of those I'll get to because it is pouring down out there, but I'm going to get cracking. JENSEN Interceptor here. Another lovely coloured car. This is a 1971 car, so an early Mark II, I believe. An automatic and been owned by the vendor since 2021. He spent 15 grand on it on various things, including some struts, etc. at the rear, which I assume means there may have been some rust issues, but don't quote me on that. I'm just reading between the lines. Huge, great Chrysler V8 in these. Most of them were auto boxes, as this one is. Fairly old-fashioned gearbox by today's standards. And there's definitely some rusty components under here. I've not had a good look, but I'd probably want to grovel around on this one. But as I say, he spent 15 grand on it, so it's a well-cared-for car, and the fact that this is guided at 22 to 26, I think that seems like a pretty fair price actually, given what these seem to be selling for. There's some damage on that driver's bolster there. I would expect that to make over 20, but we'll see. Here is a really well cared for 1987 Porsche 928 S4. It's very high mileage. I think it's pushing 140,000 miles, but it has been extremely well cared for. It's had a recent cam belt change, very important on these. Had a full engine rebuild around 2016, 2017, apparently with GT heads. I'm not sure what difference that makes. By this point, the V8 was pushing out, what, about 315 horsepower or something. And this is an S4, obviously, I can't remember if I said. Much more rounded styling in these. It's also a manual gearbox, fairly rare in these. And it looks in pretty good condition. It comes with £40,000 worth of receipts. I see so many ropey ones of these nowadays. This is a really nice looking car. I haven't seen a really good condition one for quite some time. And of course they've got a dogleg gearbox on this manual gearbox. As you can see, it's got a more modern head unit on there. Yeah, this is a nice car. The only thing that will put people off this is that it's high mileage. But guided at 14 to 18,000 pounds, I think that's pretty good. It's so important to get one of these that's well cared for. You know, these were flagship at the time, and if you look at the prices of 911s now, it's crazy. I do wonder if these have potential to go up a little bit. The really good examples. It's just a shame, clearly extremely well cared for, just a shame it's such high mileage really. So a really good looking Bentley T1 here. This is a 1970. And the T1 was actually quite an evolution from the S3 before it, and all Bentleys before it really, which were body on chassis construction. So quite primitive and old fashioned. This carried on the 6.2 Alley, I think it was 6.2 at the time, Rolls-Royce Bentley engine, V8 aluminium block. And this is in lovely condition. It's all locked in here, unfortunately. It's guided at only 15 to 20,000 pounds. As I say, I can't get in, but beautiful red leather in there. It's only had 3 keepers from new, incredibly. I mean, what a car for 15 to 20,000 pounds. Looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I can't really see any marks on that. I mean, what a quality car for the money. Beautiful. So TVR Chimera always seemed like a very high-risk car to me, hence I haven't bought one, even though they seem like quite good value at the moment. This is 1994, and I think this was a 430 V8, so 4.3. I think this has then had a full engine rebuild and been upgraded from, what, 270, 280 would it have been, to about 350, it says. And I'm not sure how true that is. I didn't know you could get that much out of these engines. I think these are seats from a different TVR, I think. I can't quite remember. It's had a lot spent on it, though. It calls it restored recently, so I don't quite know what has been done. It looks like, you know, this trim's excellent in here. TVRs don't always wear that well from this era. It looks like this roof must be relatively new. Looks in good condition. Paintwork is good. I can't see much damage to the paint or fiberglass underneath. Crazy little cars. Of course, one of the main problems with these is the chassis. Rusting chassis, and you can't really check it out very easily unless you properly get it up on ramps. Upgrades including those more modern lights you can see. And this is guided £8,000 to £12,000. Yeah, that probably sounds about right. I always just think they're quite high risk though. These two Vauxhalls, two of my favourite cars in the auction actually. That Chevette I'll come to in a minute is absolutely lovely. But this is a really rare car and not one you see very often. It's a 1976 Vauxhall Magnum sports hatch. It's a two-door estate, really. It's got the droop snout nose on it. Really lovely colour. And this had the 2.3 litre slant 4 engine. Sorry, mate. The 2.3 slant 4 in this. So slightly more powerful engine than they had in some of the other Magnums, which I think started with a 1.8, if I remember correctly. Beautiful colour. And 5-speed, I think, manual gearbox in this. Lovely car. Beautiful. And very rare for me to see one of these as well. Excellent condition, it really is. It's always slightly difficult to tell on paintwork because it's cold, lots of condensation on it, and it's slightly more difficult to tell the quality of it. I think this is called dark red wine paint colour. Clearly had a lot spent on it in restoring it. Sorry, mate. In restoring it and maintaining it to this standard, and guided at £20,000 to £30,000. A lot of money, but what a beautiful car. So on to my favourite car here, which is rare to say for a Vauxhall. Beautiful 1983 Chevette here. I think this is called Porcelain Blue. Originally a 1.3 car. This probably won't appeal to the purists. It's been basically modified. Pretty much everything is non-original, from Wilwood brakes to a rear differential, limited slip diff. But the main thing is also the Vauxhall red top engine in this. Which is running bike carb, standalone ECU. It's had the full works. Sounds brilliant from the video these guys did on it. You can see stainless steel exhaust at the back. It's also on, I think it's on Bilstein coilovers. Brilliant stance, it's perfect for me, and I love this kind of car. The old school looks. But modified like this. It appeals to me. I know a lot of people won't like that. The CB lamps on the front, and only 36,000 miles on this.
There's a few things I'm interested in.
Guided £12,000 to £16,000. I actually think that's pretty good value. Lovely interior as well, look. I think this has been fully retrimmed at some point fairly recently as well. Yeah, lovely car. This is really up my street. So another interesting car, interesting because A, it's a 240Z Datsun, which are always interesting cars, but B, because it's non-original and been modified. So I guess again, it might appeal to some and not to others. This car came from Japan in about 2013. Looks in very good condition. Slightly difficult to tell. Oh no, actually I take that back, it's not in good condition. Unfortunately, quite a lot of damage down here, rust coming through. all along here. So yeah, came to the UK in 2013. Not quite clear when, but this has got the 2.8 straight 6 in it from the 280Z rather than the 2.4 it would have had originally. It's had a new gearbox in 2020, new fuel pump. You can see some extra bracing here. But that damage is going to put a lot of people off. And the fact, I suppose, it's non-original. I mean, again, to me, that would be an upgrade, and I wouldn't mind that 2.8 engine. 20 to 25,000 pounds seems very strong money, because that's going to need a bit spending on it. I suspect that damage might be more extensive. You can see also some rust here. So yeah, I suspect, oh, I can see at the front as well. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, even good 240Zs have been struggling to sell at that money. I've not rummaged around hugely, but look at this. I mean, this is some serious issues here. There's no way this will make 20 to 25, in my opinion. 1994 Jag XJS here. It wouldn't be an auction without a Jag, would it? XJS. Yeah, this paintwork is pretty poor all along there, and various other places where it's poor. I can't see much information on this. It has no V5, and I suspect that's why it's guided at only £4,000 to £5,000. There's a little bit of rust starting along that arch. In general, the paintwork is not too great. You can see some rust starting to bubble along that sill. Heavy wear on the driver's seat. Looks a little bit tatty. But the main thing with this, I've just checked both footwells, absolutely soaking wet. I suspect you can see here, look at the rust where my thumb is. So I haven't lifted up because it's pretty grim and soggy, but I suspect that floor pan is pretty rusted by now. You can see, I suspect it's come along this seal here. Yeah, it's a later model with the 4-litre 6-cylinder facelifted. And on the face of it, you know, it doesn't look such a bad buy at such cheap money. But I suspect there's some major issues with this in respect of those very wet footwells, door seal, window seal, potentially rusting floor pan there. So yeah, I wouldn't touch this one. Another incredible car, Bentley S2, 1971. So this is the old school body on chassis design by Bentley. And it looks in average condition. Some rust there. Well, although it was old school in terms of that construction, it was actually, I think, the first Bentley that used the V8, the new V8 aluminium 6.2 V8 that Bentley Rolls-Royce then went on to use for a long time. Previously, they'd still been using the B20 inline 6, I think enlarged to about 4.9. By that time, you know, that could trace its roots back to 1920s or so. So obviously that engine a huge improvement, but the design was still very old-fashioned. Looks very nice in here, obviously some patina, but look at those lovely fluffy carpets, good condition in there. Guided at only 18 to 22,000 pounds. What a car to have for that money. Obviously could run into a lot of money to maintain, of course. Quite a lot of patina on the driver's end of the bench at the front here. So just reading again, apparently this was locally restored back in 2013 in terms of bodywork, and has since had quite a lot of mechanical work done in the last 10 years, showing 82,000 miles. So I think this is a reasonably well cared for one. And as I say, that is just an amazing car for 18 to 22,000 pounds. Some minor damage down that door. But overall, I mean, this looks really pretty good. Amazing what these don't go for now, these older Bentleys. I imagine some of that is just dirt, in fact, along that bench. Being picky, but I'm just saying you could probably make it look quite a bit better with very little cost. Another of my favourites here, Fiat 124 Sport Coupe, 1969. This is originally a Dutch car, left-hand drive, and you can see this is Series 1 because it had these single round headlights. I think the Series 2 went to where they doubled, more rectangular looking headlights, which I think personally ruined the look. And then the Series 3 went for, yeah, much different looks and wasn't nearly as good. Interesting cars though, these. I think one of the first cars to have belt drive, mass production cars. Looks like it's had quite a bit spent on it from the history. Really good looking car, and what a fun little car for kind of £7,000 to £9,000. I think these had the twin cam engine, and I think at this stage was it a 1.45, which I think gave a paltry 90 horsepower or so. I think they then moved to a 1.6. I'm presuming this is the earlier engine without actually knowing that for sure. But looks beautiful in here. What a good looking car, lovely colour, can't see any rust. A lot of these have rusted away. Yeah, really nice car, and I reckon that's a great buy at that kind of money. So full of interesting cars here today. A Bentley AZURE, but this is the second generation of AZURE. And rather than being based on the Continental R like the original one, this is obviously based on the Enage. So I hardly ever see these. This cost £250,000 new, so about 440 in today's money. Very interesting kind of chrome wheels here. Personally, I prefer the styling of the old Continental R based one. This is really excellent condition though. And only 36,000 miles. This had the same engine as the higher spec Enage as well, so twin turbo 6.75 V8 on this, giving 450-ish horsepower, and crazy torque. Was it 650 pound-foot? Lovely, lovely car though, absolutely enormous. And these two-door rollers and Bentleys are just amazing things. And also quite rare. You know, I think right-hand drive of this second generation of AZURE, there's only about 140 or so made. So I actually reckon that guide price of 60 to 70,000 pounds, quite a lot of discoloration and some wear in here. That guide price of 60 to 70, sorry, actually sounds like pretty good value to me. Yes, it's a huge amount of money, but you know, this was over $250,000 new. Very high spec. It's a little bit dirty on the leather and there's some wear. Just incredible cars. I probably wouldn't have this one. I would have the Continental R-based one, as I say. This is a really cheap 1967 Jaguar S-Type. It's a 3.4 manual gearbox. It sounds as it's probably been off the road for quite a long time before recently being recommissioned. So I'm not sure whether it may still need a little bit of recommissioning by the sounds of it. Difficult to know. But guided at only £6,000 to £8,000. Bright work at the front looks really good. I can't immediately see anything. I mean, there's some rust coming through around that rear arch. There's a bit of bubbling back there. But on the whole, on the face of it, without having a really good inspection, doesn't look too bad. Likewise inside, lots of patina on the seat, but not looking so bad. Could be a very cheap Jag, that. How much it costs to maintain, who knows. Interesting car again, Citroen ID20. So this is a slightly lower model than the DS, of course. I can't remember exactly all the features that it didn't have over the DS. This is a 20, so it's the 2-litre, fairly underpowered these, to be honest. Left-hand drive, obviously. Seats look in very good condition. I think those are vinyl. The roof, however, doesn't look in great condition. Lots of kind of bubbling and blistering. You might be able to see all over that roof. Set really low on that pneumatic suspension, as you can see. Amazing ride quality in these. I'm not sure if these had the same headlights as the DS, which turned as you went round corners or not. If someone knows, please let me know. Down here, the settings for suspension, that white knob on the lever there, setting for the suspension. I think these had, as you can see, a normal brake pedal, whereas the DS had a bulb because it was connected to the pneumatic system, the brakes. So I guess that's another difference as well. No expert on these. And this is guided at £10,000 to £14,000, which seems pretty reasonable value. Quite a few MGBs here, there always are. Featuring this one because it's a V8, so 3.5 litre Rover V8 over the standard 1.8 4-cylinder that these had. And a factory one, they're relatively rare. It looks to have been pretty well cared for. It's got some invoices, etc. on record. It doesn't, reading between the lines, sound like it's what you call an extensive maintenance history. Looks pretty good in the rusty places though. There's some perished rubbers along here. Good looking car and a rare for a V8. These V8s still fetch really good money. This one's guided at 12 to 15,000, which sounds pretty decent value for a V8B. Fairly good condition in there as well. Really rare and interesting car here. Well, pretty rare actually, because it's a manual. So this is a 1997 Volvo V70R, of course. So these were all-wheel drive. I think is this a phase 1 in 1997? I think still 2.3 engine, 5-cylinder, of course, turbo at this time. And I think these were around 260 at this point before moving in the, was it the phase 3? It went up to 300 horsepower. As you can tell, I'm not hugely familiar on these. But I looked for one of these years and years ago for ages, and it's just so hard to find a good one of these now. That's a manual gearbox. The auto boxes in these are really rubbish, to be honest. Very rare colour. This looks in really good condition, and these are often huge miles as well. So this one at £76,000 looks in really top quality condition, I have to say, and a manual gearbox, and in this rare colour. This is a really rare opportunity. Really characterful engines. I had a Mark II Focus ST, which obviously uses a bored out 2.5 version of this Volvo engine effectively. Really good sounding engine, very characterful. Looks lovely in there as well. It is quite strong money for one of these, 8 to 12. I mean, if that goes near the bottom end, I think it's a good buy. Someone may be prepared to pay a bit more for it because it really is rare to find one of these in manual. Some stone chips, etc. on the front and scratching. But overall, as these go, so many ropey ones, I think it's pretty good. It also has service maintenance history spanning the last 20 years, so very well looked after. You can see some damage on that driver's bolster and some general wear, particularly on this part of the steering wheel, but that kind of material is always going to wear quite a lot. Alcantara type material. Only a 5-speed box as well, but yeah, interesting car. MGC Roadster here. It's a 1969. I guess in a way a big brother to the B in that it had 6-cylinder engine, of course. This one's 98,000 miles, only 4 keepers. Guided at £10,000 to £15,000, which is quite a big range. It looks pretty good condition though. Roof looks very good. Some minor wear. Yeah, looks good in here. Yeah, good condition in here. And in fact, all around. So 10 to 15 is a wide range, but I'd be surprised if that doesn't make the reserve price on this, and the minimum of that guide price. So another rare and interesting car, at least in the UK, because this is a Japanese domestic market car, obviously, imported to the UK in 2022, all registered here. It's a Toyota Crown, 2002 car. So this has the 1JZ, 1JZ if you like, engine, so 6-cylinder. Did they do a naturally aspirated and a single turbo version of that, I believe? And this is, real high luxury that you just don't get this styling in the European market Toyotas. Very unique, some of these older Japanese domestic market cars in their styling and interiors. High quality, known to be, you know, very long-lasting, bulletproof, well-wearing cars, these. I think this has a lot of appeal if you're in the JDM scene. It's got quite a few, probably quite a few modifications, I think. I'm no expert on these, but clearly the exhaust slightly tatty where there's been a bit of a homemade, I would suggest, adaptation. And even rarer because this is an estate as well. Done about 108,000 miles. And clearly, I would imagine on some coilovers here and aftermarket wheels. And guided £6,000 to £8,000. A no reserve CL500 here. This could be great value, I reckon. 2006, has the bulletproof 5-litre V8 M113 engine. Lovely car. Pillarless coupe. These were really high-end, expensive cars at the time. There is some rust poking through in various areas, you know, some bubbling and some damage around here. And it doesn't look too bad around the arches. It's only 74,000 miles, which is fairly low for one of these. There are some really, really tatty ones, to be honest, on these. And of course, these had a fairly early iteration of the active body control suspension, ABC, known to be quite problematic on this era Mercedes. I've had some issues in a 2003 S-Class with that. The wear on this looks really excellent in here, actually. And this lovely trim on here. This had ABC module and ABC suspension service, so hopefully this has had some of the major issues actually dealt with. Potentially a very good value car. E46 Evolution here, so the 3.2 litre straight six over the first iteration's 3 litre. Looks in average condition, quite a lot of marks on that paintwork. Quite a lot of corrosion on the wheels. Yeah, 10 to 14,000 pounds, got a decent maintenance history. It's in kind of average condition. Obviously we've got this hard top. Some significant wear, but nothing out of the ordinary on that driver's seat. Otherwise, it actually looks reasonably good in here. There's some pretty tatty ones around nowadays. And 6-speed manual gearbox. Was it the pre-Evolution only had a 5-speed, I believe? I don't know the mileage on this one, but I suspect it's high, given the guide price. Yeah, some kind of marking all over on the paintwork. But, you know, these E36s, that's not bad money for it, to be honest. Jaguar XJ Super V8 here. I think this is for X358 era, being 2008. Long wheelbase as well, so 4.2 supercharged V8. AJ V8 engine. It looks in fairly good condition, actually. You don't see that many of these in black on black with blacked out windows and black wheels. It looks good, I like it. I've actually already owned 2 of these. I would buy another one at the right price though. This is, I think, around £10,000 guide price. Looks very good condition in here. It's only 76,000 miles or so. ZF 6-speed, it looks as though, I think with the cooled seats still optional at this time. It's got the cooled seats, which is a nice touch. So a well-spec'd car. Had limited use over the last few years. It has been serviced reasonably well. A lot of it is handwritten by obviously a kind of old-fashioned garage, let's call it. But I think it looks like a reasonable service history. No evidence of the valley pipes, coolant pipes haven't been changed from this, which is a bit of a risk at this age and mileage on that. Yeah, I'll bid on this at the right price. Ford F-150 here, 86, I think, 1986. Obviously a left-hand drive, 5.7 litre V8, and fully restored apparently. It looks in excellent condition, huge great exhaust on this. I bet this sounds good. The paintwork looks really good, and you know, it's a wide guide price of £8,000 to £12,000. So yeah, I reckon that's good value at eight grand though. Surely someone's going to spend more than that on it. I mean, this is lovely in here, absolutely lovely. This has got to be worth more than 8,000, surely. I could see this getting top end. I mean, I don't know the prices of these very well, but this is a really beautiful example. Smells lovely in here. Restored, it is a insurance write-off back in 2013. How much that matters now, I'm not so sure. Not really a car that I'm particularly into, but I have to say, seeing this one in the metal is lovely. It is very wet on that carpet there, extremely soggy, so I'd suggest the seals, door seals probably aren't the best. I can see 5,000 miles on the odometer, so I'm not sure what the real mileage of this one is. I can't believe it's only 5,000. Obviously the stick shift gear and lever there. Yeah, nice car. An interesting one. So one Land Rover Defender for you, I'm afraid. I saved this to the end, especially for you. Yeah, this one is, okay, I looked at it because it's a relatively cheap guide price, sump guard there. A 2.4 TDCI, so effectively the kind of transit engine, I guess, these. And it looks okay, 2009. There is some corrosion, I think mostly surface corrosion on this. Some was noted on the MOT history. It will need a bit spending on it, I think, to get through the next MOT, judging by what it said on the last MOT. Not in terrible condition though, but also not brilliant. It's, as I say, 2009, quite low miles for one of these, I suppose, 76,000 miles. I'm only interested if this is 10 grand or so. It will, as I say, definitely need something spending on it. Now these move to much more comfortable suspension, 6-speed gearbox drive, although they're still very old-fashioned and uncomfortable, they're a huge improvement really over TD5 era. There is rust on these footwells. This is quite damp, you know, this typical Defender, this leaks. You get water sitting in here and rusting away the footwells. The rest of the bulkhead looks pretty good. It looks like it's got an official Land Rover snorkel, roof rack, lights. I mean, you know, I'm sure someone will spend 12k, probably hammer price on this. It'll be out of my range, but you never know, you've got to be in it to win it. So it's a long drive for me to come up to Newcastle, but a really enjoyable day. Excellent variety of cars, a huge range back to kind of 1930s, up to, as you saw, quite a lot of modern classics as well. Also quite a variety in terms of condition. As you saw, as with any auction, a few unsold. But on the whole, I think they sold reasonably well, and I suspect that's a lot to do with the fact that this is slightly lower in the price range of classic cars. You know, low to medium price range, I would say. The more affordable classics for sure. And I think it's that end of the market that is perhaps holding up a bit better and you're seeing stronger sales in my opinion. And that's not to say that they don't have the higher end cars here. I mean, the Bentley AZURE, for example, was a fairly expensive car. I've seen quite a few Ferraris pass through here when I've been here. I was a little surprised at the condition of a couple of those cars. The XJS that was in poor condition with respect to footwells particularly didn't sell even though it was a really, really cheap guide price. That 240Z, I have to say, I was very surprised that sold for what it did. Was it around 20,000? I mean, I suspect that needs substantial restoration work. Always feels like there might be something I can buy here. Unfortunately, this auction, I missed out. The ones I was going to go for went for more than I was prepared to pay. But a great day nevertheless, and I look forward to coming back in 2026. Thank you very much for watching and see you soon.